Hello, everybody, and welcome to Closing the Deal Dental Podcast. I am your host, Elijah Desmond, the CEO and founder of Dental Pitch Brokerage, and I have with me my friend, my mentor, my business coach, the man himself, Dr. Eric Roman. How you doing today, Eric?
Oh, I love being with you, Elijah. This is so much fun. What a gift that we get to share time chatting about this.
Absolutely. Well, first, before I read your traditional bio, I'm going to give everybody like my Eric bio. Does that work for you?
Yeah, my bio. I want to hear you. I want to hear this. Hold on tight.
So to me, Eric is one of those people, number one, who is kind to everybody, but has the right words to say all of the time, with experience to back the words. Eric is someone that you can always count on to pick you up when you're down, and he's somebody else that I have been able to count on to help me through all of my businesses in the past 3 years as my personal business coach. So it's an honor to have worked with you, Eric, and I watch how you inspire people both from the stage and one-on-one. You're changing people's lives on a regular basis, and you're making a huge impact in our world. And I just love you for that. And I also love that I get to share you with people who are listening to this podcast. So I'm going to give you the real bio now. Man, that was my real bio. This is the world bio. Okay.
Can I just tell you though first how seen I feel right now, just from your bio, Elijah. We'll pause in between. I feel so seen because I feel like I have a lot of love to share, and I've loved our relationship and how I've been able to support you and the people that you care about. So now we'll go to the real bio. Thank you, buddy. I received that.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So Dr. Eric Roman has started his professional journey as a dentist, but soon to become the CEO of several fast growing multi location dental groups that generated over 200 million in care during his leadership. Despite successes, the journey almost destroyed the things that matter the most to Eric in his life. He exited the company that he founded to become one of the dental industry's most esteemed experts on team dynamics, associate dentist development, and leadership as a clinical director. His coaching and training across the DSO industry has several billion in annual dental revenue. He's just getting started. Eric has a lot of love to share, and he believes the future of dentistry starts with healthy teams, healthy dentists, and healthy leaders. Eric, welcome to the show.
Boom. That sounded great, man. Every year, like as I continue to change, a little bit of the bio continues to change. And man, like I'm just thankful that I actually like what I hear when you read it.
Yes, I loved it. I loved it myself. So look, we kick off the show every time the same way. We do this at our live events for Dental Pitch Brokerage, and I know that you actually exited yourself with multiple locations. If you could do it all over again, and there was this song, like you came into a room full of buyers, there's 10 buyers standing up clapping, and you have some loud walk-on music as you're walking to the stage. What would be that one song that you would pick and why?
Um, right now, without a doubt, I can make your hands clap. And two reasons. One, that's how I would want that relationship to feel. I want someone to feel like, as a result of having a relationship and doing business with me and with what I built, that I can make their hands clap, that they can be grateful and there's something about hands clapping. It's not like, okay, yeah, that was a good deal. That was a freaking amazing deal. I want to stand up and clap about it. Second reason is that song, one of the things I actually use it as walkout music when I'm speaking, and people innately clap their hands. And like there's an energy to that really resonates with me. It pumps me up. And so if ever there was a holistically Eric Roman song of what I'd want the world to feel and what I experience, I think it might be that right now.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. Eric, can you give all of our listeners your background? Like, where did you come from? Give us your background.
So, in order to keep this podcast less than 4 hours, I'm gonna cut to the juicy parts. I only knew one thing. As I was graduating dental school, I knew that I was gonna build a group. That was I knew that was my jam. I graduated in '07, did a residency. Coming out in '08, financial markets sucked. The bank called me to pull back my loan. They said, sorry, you know how we said we'd give you $800,000 to build the business plan you have? We can't. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, we can't. So my first group, I built explosively fast growing groups. 1.8 million first year, 2 million second year, 6 or 8 million the third year. By the end of 3 years, I had 3 practices like doing like $13 million in revenue, like super fast out of the gates. The only thing I knew. And my first group, everything blew up in my face. I ended up unexpectedly in a regulatory lawsuit where the people that were once my friends were now my enemies. And I was caught in between a rock and the hard place, between dental boards and DSOs. And my first exit, I lost everything. It was a duress exit that was forced by regulatory failure. And lessons learned. I cried a little bit. Out of the ashes rose a phoenix. The next group that I built was not going to look anything like the first one. And we went from 0 to about 40 million in top line revenue in about 5 years. How many locations was it? I mean, like, I don't honestly know, because we were always adding locations, building things. 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there, based on what we had under construction. We built large, high revenue locations. Our average practice was between 3 and 6 million in revenue. That was like our smack recipe, all de novo startups. So I was a pro at going from 0 to 3.5, 4.5 million really fast. All multi-doctor, all super GP. And we also had specialties integrated strategically inside of that. Had just short of about 300 employees when I decided to change my life and get out of that. And in general, our operating model, like, I'm not gonna lie, we were relatively low EBITDA as a percentage operation, you know, and and that was a concerted choice because of what we wanted our locations to look like, how we wanted to cater to the dentists that we had, what kind of technology we wanted to offer, and maybe a little bit my lack of business prowess. Like, I have strengths and I have weaknesses, and one of those was like on at that point in my career was on driving EBITDA. There were skills that I needed that I didn't have. So uh I I honestly was really broken and tired. And I was in a place where I didn't want to live. My family wasn't getting what they wanted. I pulled the parachute in 19 for me, private equity exit that put a lot of money in my bank account. Um, More than I imagined, but I had a lot of work to do in my home to like kind of rebuild that. Since then, I built a bunch of different coaching and consulting programs. That's what I do. Different focuses, different things. I've coached over 1 billion in annual revenue of DSOs, and I've learned a ton. I've reinvented myself 5 times since that exit in 19, which is pretty crazy. And so right now I'm focused on serving a space I feel like nobody's serving. That's revenue generators, associate doctors, the people that take care of them, clinical leaders, CEOs, whoever they are. And then the third thing will serve is specifically to managers so that your managers can drive revenue while you keep your foot on the gas pedal. So that's me, Elijah. What did I leave out?
That's awesome. Well, I just want to go ahead and say I didn't know this. I'm going to know other sides or other parts of Eric that I didn't know. Probably same side, this other parts. You graduated in '08, right?
Yep. '07 for '08 out of residency.
I'm going to call residency. It's still you
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
'07, '08. For me, I graduated from Ohio State University in 2009 from hygiene school. And what college did you graduate from?
Undergrad, Florida State University. I played baseball there back in the day. Then dental school, UNC Chapel Hill.
All right, that's awesome. So two really good athletic schools. And
That's it, baby.
did you play baseball all through or part of college?
All through my undergrad. And it was kind of funny. I got my dental school acceptance letter literally the week that I tore my rotator cuff in college. I was leading I was leading the country in saves as a closer. And the moment my rotator cuff tore, it was like my spirit tore. And it's like that dental school acceptance. It's like God had a plan for me, and it wasn't continuing to play baseball. Maybe that's what I read, but it's certainly what I did. So yeah, kind of interesting.
That's awesome. This is Florida Seminoles.
Yeah, Florida State Seminoles, man.
Cool. If you're to give dentists 3 tips when they're considering selling, what would they be?
I'm going to offer you 3 tips I wish somebody had given me. Now, number one, know why you are doing this. Like people, we sell because we see other people selling. We think, well, we have to time the market. We sell for 150 reasons that are dumb. What do you want to have change in your life as a result of you selling? And see, and once you know what you want to have change, now all you're doing is building a strategy to affect the change you want to have in your life. So that's reason number one. Know why you're really doing it. Because if it's all about money, like you ain't going to be happy. There's got to be something else that's changing in your life as a result of this that's going to make it better. So, second thing, and I actually coach people through sell side work all the time. I have a lot of coaching clients that are like, "Hey, help me get out of this." Um, Commit to a minimum financial target. And I would also say financial and experiential, right? Because our targets aren't just like, I got this much money. Our targets should be like, or our bare minimums should be like, I got this. This is what my future looks like. This is what happens for my team, et cetera, et cetera. Build out what that looks like and commit to it. Put it on paper and say, if I get anything better than this, I'm out. That doesn't mean you're not fighting for best case scenario. You still fight for best case scenario, but I cannot tell you how many times I talk to people and they're like, well, at first I thought this is all I wanted, but now I know it. No, 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 no. Pick a freaking bear target. And when you get it, say, awesome, right? Done and move on. Can fight for more, but just make sure you meet your bare minimum. And like, it just makes it so simple. Every day in my sell side advisory, Elijah, I'm talking to people, I'm like, hey, oh my gosh, I know you're really upset about X, Y, and Z. You're still getting everything you wanted, A, B, C, and D. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're totally right. I'm like, yeah, shut up and say yes. Like, sign the deal. You're going to get what you want. So, last thing, item number 3, and I'm thankful because this was a mistake I did not make. I make a lot of mistakes, not this one. Do not do this alone. Um, if you think you're going to negotiate a better deal by yourself and working directly with that DSO, oh my gosh. Uh, Selling is a decision to go to market, not to talk to one DSO about should I sell. I just had a coaching client the other day. She's like, hey, um, I got this really cool offer from a DSO. I was like, whoa. She's like, should I take it? I'm like, time out. If you're on the market, let's go to the market and let the market bid on you and let's make a strategy and all the other stuff. Don't you dare do this by yourself, all of them. The other thing that people think is, oh, a broker is just going to help me negotiate the deal. Oh, no, 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 no. Brokers are going to be with you every step of the way and moving through the documents, the legal, all the different things to get to close. And the easiest thing in the whole world is getting that initial offer, that LOI. You think, oh, I'm done. No, you haven't even started yet. So last thing, never do it alone.
Awesome. Those are some amazing tips. Let me ask you, if you were to give advice to the owners to balance the demands of selling their practice with personal fulfillment, what would that be?
If you're not clear on how this is going to be personally fulfilling, remember my point in the beginning, like what is it that you want to see change in your life? Not just like running away from your practice because you're frustrated with your team is not a good journey. Like, what do you want to see different about your life? Like, what do you want your experience to be? That's personal fulfillment. And the truth is, Elijah, a lot of us have been trained out of understanding personal fulfillment. And I would actually say, from my experience, the majority of sellers are not happy afterwards. And the reason I believe that they're not happy afterwards is because they didn't know what personal fulfillment could look like afterwards, right? And so they sold, but in a short-sighted, I'm trying to get rid of a problem sort of a way, not sitting there and saying, like, I'm moving on. In other words, Eric Roman, this is an Eric Romanism. Selling is not an end, it's a beginning. So what is the next phase of your life that you're beginning? Where is your fulfillment going to be coming from in the future? If you have clarity about that, your next purpose, your next thing, and by the way, if your next purpose is to be like a wonderful real estate entrepreneur, honestly, I think that's what a lot of dentists say. I hate dentistry. I want to go do real estate or something else where I'm going to make all my money in Bitcoin. And then they get to the other side of it and they didn't realize it's not as validating and fulfilling as what they once thought, whether they succeed or fail. So Personal fulfillment is what it's all about. Honestly, the only reason, Elijah, we have professional lives is to get what we want personally. So if you're focused only professional fulfillment and not on personal, you're never going to be happy, baby. So personal fulfillment's a game, Elijah.
Makes sense. So, what strategies can dentists implement to ensure a smooth transition that aligns with their personal values and goals?
Hmm. Strategies for a smooth transition. Number one, dentists need to understand the details of the process. The sales process is not what people think it is. And you don't you spend your money until it's in your bank account. Like, don't make a plan for that boat or whatever. Like, you need to really understand the process. One of the strategies that professional buyers employ is to get you so excited early in the process and then break you down as it goes through there, where you get to the end and you're like, this isn't what I wanted, but I feel like I have to accept it. So strategically for me inside of that, that's why I say you have to have a partner in this, a team that's working for you. And you need to stay focused on just keeping the practice like thriving and growing. The last thing you want to have is that during the process, you're gradually decreasing in performance. But that's a strategy that professional buyers want you to go through because their sales price, what they execute at, is a lot lower. So I would totally say, number one, understand the process. Number two, have your partner so that your broker is staying focused on the things that mattered. You're staying focused on keeping performance high. Those are the two most important things along the way. The third would be what I've already said. Know your actual minimum strike, and anything above that, you say yes.
Makes sense. Can you tell me a little bit about leadership, like and how leadership affects the valuation and attractiveness of a practice?
I mean, there's a bunch of different types of buyers out there. That's the first thing that I'll acknowledge. Some buyers don't care. They don't care. And this is why you need a broker relationship that really understands what you're getting into and what this buyer does. That they can sit there and say, hey, I've seen what they do to 25 different practices. Here's what's going to happen afterwards. Sometimes they don't care. And they're like, they don't care if you're there. They're just like, they're going to do what they do. They're going to, squeeze more water out of the washcloth. They're going to get rid of half the team if they're paid too much. Just going to do their thing. And in that scenario, Elijah, I don't know, like if they're planning for you to not be there after, a little bit of time, then maybe leadership isn't a component. But I don't think if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably not super interested in that type of buyer, would be my first thing I'm saying. And so let's assume that we're dealing with a buyer that actually wants this location to continue growing and to continue providing value and to be stable in how it operates into the future. Leadership is the cornerstone of all those things, right? Leadership is the cornerstone of team retention. Leadership is the cornerstone of additional doctor growth. Leadership is the cornerstone of sustainable profitability into the future. Leadership is the cornerstone of being able to deal with the inevitable crap that comes up inside of the journey. So, good companies understand that. And what I will also say here, though, Elijah, is that leadership should be a bilateral consideration because now you are not the de facto only leader. Now you have a leader. So the leadership of the organization, of the company or the individual that's buying me, like, is their leadership worthwhile? How can you be testing their leadership as they're testing yours? I mean, listen, John Maxwell, everything rises and falls on leadership. He's right. Like, so if you're angry about how things turned out in the future, well, it was because of leadership. Like at the end of the day, everything's leadership. So does that answer your question, Elijah? I mean, it's like everything hinges on that.
It does. How much does team culture play in preparing for a practice sale?
You know, culture's like my middle name. But culture also, everybody in the dental world is talking about culture, but it's the white whale. It's like Moby Dick. Everybody knows it's out there because they see it destroying ships. Like when culture is broken, everybody's upset. But what nobody knows how to do is capture it and refine it and make it work to their benefit. That's like the absolute minority of what's happening out there. So when companies are coming in and looking, they are absolutely positively looking for culture, but culture ends up being a function of leadership. See, culture's always there, Elijah. The question is whether this culture is contributing to the success and sustainability of the business or whether this culture is hurting it, right? Good culture, bad culture, they're all culture. And so that said, um, strength as a team, culture isn't about, oh my gosh, Elijah, we all love each other. Like we go to the bar every night together and we get like that isn't culture. That's like there's five other things that can be, and culture is not. Liking people is not culture. I totally disagree with that everybody loves each other. Oh, no, 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 no. Like that's not culture either. Culture is a shared life. It's a shared commitment, and it's a shared air of performance. If there's no performance, I don't think there's culture, right? Culture is that we all know why we're here and what the values that are propagated inside of this environment. We all know what they are and we like it. Like culture is, we know what behaviors are rewarded and we know what behaviors are eliminated, right? We know what our shared value set is going to be and how we operate. That's culture. um Eric Roman says, is there something wrong if you like quote yourself? Eric Roman says that if your practices aren't performing, you don't have a culture. Like your culture is not good, is not healthy. So I guess that's what I'd say inside of cultivating strong team, right? Like because listen, if I'm a buyer and I'm looking, I'm asking the question, I am a buyer. Like I still buy stuff. And so when I go out there, I'm looking, how sustainable is what's been built here? Does like, is this going to require a lot of maintenance for me once I pick this thing up? Am I going to lose all the most important producers or the glue that holds this company together? If that's the case, like the value goes way down.
Yep, Eric, thank you. I think as I'm hearing you and I ask that question, I almost feel, through my experience that the culture actually doesn't really matter that much pre-sale. It's not like the buyer is going in and actually you can say it's a good culture, but it's not like they're going in and shadowing and saying like, "Hey, does everybody love their like?" You don't really know. So I feel like culture is almost more important for post sale, and I say that because there's these things called earnouts, right? And if you don't have a team, how are you gonna hit your metrics? How are you gonna hit your numbers and maintain your EBITDA? And I feel like most of these dentists are staying afterwards. So I feel like the culture is almost way more important after the sale than it is before the sale. Cause I don't think it's going to impact the sale in advance like it is on the way on the other end. And maybe you get 70 or 80% of your money, but that 20% of your money is really going to count on you and your team. And if you don't have a team, that culture all of a sudden becomes really important. What are your thoughts on that?
What I heard you just say, Elijah, culture is evident in the numbers. You can see some of, like, you can't test it or know, but a lot of the culture is going to be evident and present in the numbers. The question you're asking is that afterwards, is that, are those numbers going to continue increasing or is it going to be a cultural error that causes them to decrease? And so that's really what we're playing for. And I'll add to this, one of the biggest errors, this goes against Eric Roman's rules of acquisition, is that owner doctor like doesn't tell the team, like there's no discussion of this, and then all of a sudden new owner shows up and the doctor's like, well, everybody, I have a announcement to make this morning, and that is that I have made a decision to sell a portion of my location to, and the team's like, what the hell? And I've watched team members literally walk out on the spot and say, "Nope, not gonna do." I mean, like, and that was cultural. That was cultural. That was a failure. And so Your point is, how do we transition effectively from one relationship to the next? That's what's in the best interest of our patients. It's in the best interest of the profession of dentistry, and it's in the best interest of our team. Those are the things we need to do.
Yeah, I actually was a guest on the DSO Hygienist podcast today. And that's actually specifically what she does is she prepares the team for a sale and then works with them through the integration of the practices. And so I'm just curious, while on this topic, how does a doctor and when does a doctor, from your experience, when's the best time to tell your team? Because if you have no team, you have no hygienist, they're not even interested in you anymore, some of them, and you're risking ruining the entire deal if your team knows. But like, what's Eric's spin on when do you tell the team and how do you tell the team?
Yes, is my first answer. Um, Elijah, I am not going to act like this is a one size fits all. It's not. It's not a one size fits all. I'm not throwing shade on you. If you're sitting there and you're saying, "Listen, the only way I'm going to be able to get this deal across the finish line is telling my team after it's done." I get you. I hear you. I see you. You're just not who I'm going to acquire, right? Like that ain't my game. So, I think we just have to give consideration to who we are and what we're trying to. It's like the whole thing beginning with the end in mind. What are we trying to get done? Um, for me, I was open and honest with 100% of my leaders before I went to market, my leadership team. And I said, listen, I have a responsibility to make sure you, as my leaders, know the direction of what's going to be happening over the next couple of years. And I need you to be a portion of it. Like, I need you to experience this and be a portion of it and help us drive growth to be able to get there. This is normal and this is a cycle, right? There will be opportunities for you there in the future as a result of you being able to do that. Now, relative to how we communicate that to our teams at that point, like early, like it wasn't a necessity, but there came a point before everything was done that we were sitting at like they're like the buyers interviewing my doctors, they're interviewing team members. Like if I'm like, you can't tell them why you're interviewing. That's stupid. So we got to be open and honest and say, hey, we're trying to drive to a highest and best value for everybody in the future. Like we're trying to build something sustainable in the future and I can't do it. I need some support because of X, Y, and Z. That's why we're looking at this partnership and I hope you can participate and be a portion of it. So um that would be kind of my perspective on it, Elijah. I know I'm not landing the plane perfectly, but I am totally I mean, listen, vision and execution. We should be able to be open and honest with people when someone says, well, Eric, are you planning to sell someday? Yes, I absolutely am planning to sell someday. Here's why lie? Like, I mean, because like one way or the other, like, do you want to be truthful about what's going on? Can you answer questions truthfully and tactfully in the best interest of everybody? It's kind of my Roman rule on that one.
That's awesome. Eric, it's been great. You jam packed this with all kinds of gold. The people that have listened and like, man, I need some more Eric in my life. I guess I can share. How can people get a hold of you? What's the best way to reach out to you?
Um, Elijah, right now, literally, Dr. Eric, ERIC, J. Roman, drericjroman.com is the best place to find out about me. But I say that while I'm literally rebuilding the website for version 5.0 of Dr. Eric J. Roman. But you'll definitely be able to get a sense of who I am, be able to connect with me, be able to learn about what I'm doing to train associates for you, or what I'm doing to train clinical leadership to care for their associates. So if any of those things are a fit, come find me, drericjroman.com.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye bye.
Thanks, Elijah. Bye, guys.